Naran IAS. So these are the topics which I have taken for today's daily news analysis. So first one is related to a role for India in South-South climate cooperation. So this is regarding fostering climate cooperation among the developed countries with India in the lead. Okay. Second one is regarding addressing the growing threat of forest fires. Okay. Recently you might have heard regarding the Los Angeles forest fire. So India is also having the threat of this forest fire. So we'll be discussing what is India's statistics regarding forest fires and all this initiatives regarding forest fires. All these things we'll be discussing here. Okay. Third one is related to struggling with poor cyber security. So this is specifically focusing on this Karnataka's recent cyber attack, but still we'll be looking at a bigger picture regarding what are the institutions which are handling cyber security in India. All these things we'll be discussing here. Okay. And finally, this is regarding the president's rule. There is actually a possibility of the president's rule being imposed in Manipur. Okay, so we'll be discussing what are the provisions, what are the constitutional provisions, what are the situations, what are the Supreme Court judgments regarding this. All these things we'll be discussing here. Okay, all right. So before moving on to our analysis, let me show you a message that encourages us to pursue our dreams without fear of failure. Okay, so this is a message you can read: dream big and dare to fail. Dream big and dare to fail. Okay, so it's just a reminder that growth and success often come from taking risks and embracing the possibility of failure as part of the journey. So dream big, push your limits, and don't let the fear of not succeeding stop you from taking bold steps forward. Each failure brings you closer to success. So with that note, let's move on to our analysis. So before that, let me show you a few of the products we are actually launching. So this is actually the self-study planner which we are launching for the prelims 2025. So here you can see that a QR code will be displayed. So you can scan this QR code and you can download our app. So there you will be getting a self-study planner. So this will be a 110 days self-study planner. So you can self-study by according to this planner. We have already segregated the topics there. So you can study accordingly. Okay. All right. Next one is the 1 year prelims comes mains integrated course. So this is for the students who are aspirants who are aiming the 2026 examination, and another one is the 2 year prelims comes mains integrated course. So this is for aspirants who are aiming the 2027 examination. Okay, so our features are: we'll be having 800 plus hours of general studies and CSAT online classes will be there, and also we'll be having 200 plus hours of current affairs classes will also be there. Okay, so these are our specialties. We'll be having a strategic micro schedule for every subjects we'll be having, and also we have expert faculty for all the subjects, and obviously testing is also very important part of your preparation. So we'll be having tests both for prelims as well as mains examination. Okay. All right. So with that note, let's move on to first topic: a role for India in South-South climate cooperation. So basically, this article is highlighting India's strategic role in leveraging Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. Okay, Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement for South-South climate cooperation. You might have heard regarding South-South cooperation, but this is specifically regarding to climate cooperation. Particularly, India's engagement with African nations and all will be discussing. Okay, so here we'll be discussing what is a South-South climate cooperation, and there is a concept is coming, that is internationally transferred mitigation outcome. Okay, internationally transferred mitigation outcome. So we'll be discussing what is this ITMOs and how this is working. Okay, all right. So coming under GS3 paper, environment paper. Okay, we'll see a previous year question in this regard. Clean energy is the order of the day. Describe briefly India's changing policy towards climate change in various international fora in the context of geopolitics. So this kind of questions can be asked for your examination. Okay, all right. So we'll start with what is this South-South cooperation. Okay, you know what is this? North means developed countries, most developed countries. South means countries which are developing, underdeveloping. All these things we call it as a global South. Okay, all right. So basically, this is a collaboration between developing countries in the global South. Okay, North means it is the most developed countries. For example, like US and all, that will be that countries we call it as a North, global North. So this is the global South, developing countries like India. Okay, so basically it involves sharing many things. For example, knowledge. It can be knowledge, it can be resources, or maybe some best practices will be there. But mostly it will be to achieve common goals. For example, climate change, economic development, health, education. So like that way, some common goals will be there, and for that these countries, the global south countries or the developing countries, they need to have a cooperation among them. Okay, so these are some of the prominent areas in which south-south cooperation is usually dealt with. For example, economic development. Economic development is one of the major areas in which South-South cooperation is happening. They'll be sharing their experience in industrialization, even infrastructure development will be there, trade will be there. So that kind of things will be there. Mainly trade, mainly trade purpose will be there. Okay, and also regarding health, also countries collaborate on addressing the global health challenges. For example, like this tropical regions. Tropical regions are prone to some of the major global crisis in the world itself. Okay, so these global south countries can cooperate on that areas. And pandemic, in pandemic also, pandemic cooperation also we can include in this. And also other than that, in technological front as well as education tech front also, we can go with that kind of technology. Okay, for example, like bridging the education gap, bridging the digital divide, making internet accessible, all these things we can include in this education and technology platform. Okay, now there is something new which is coming here, that is a climate resilience. Okay, climate resilience, or we can call it as a climate cooperation or climate change, what we can do against a climate change. So that is also coming under this south-south cooperation in the recent times. So that's what this article is talking about. Okay, so what are the areas in which we can cooperate regarding this climate change? Okay, so why we have to cooperate in this climate change? Because right, climate change is something which is posing existential threat to most of the developing countries. For example, rising of sea level will be there, or maybe global warming will be there, or maybe even this like uh, increasing the carbon emissions will be there. So all these things are actually an existential threat to this countries, many countries, especially this global south countries. So this is something which requires a south-south cooperation, and that is something which is making it essential for this climate resilience. Okay, some of the areas are, one is technology transfer. Technology transfer, for example, developing countries, even usually this happens to developed countries, but India is a very even though India is a developing countries, Indian technology is very much advanced. Okay, so this developing countries, they actually share the technology. For example, like technologies in renewable energy sector, technologies in renewable energy sector. Okay, like green hydrogen, that kind of technologies will be there. Resilient agricultural practices will be there. Even water management system will be there. Water management system will be there. So like that way, technology can be, India and Israel is having a very good water management that deals are there. So like that way, technology transfer can happen, and also financial support is also very much important. For example, some advanced countries, even India, countries like India, they are actually funding projects in other countries aimed at reducing the emission. So again, this will again improve the overall energy efficiency of the world. Okay, so that is also very much important, and in this consideration, India can play a leading role. Okay, south-south cooperation with India in the lead. So this is what we are envisioning. Okay, all right. So why India? Why India? Because India is a rapidly developing economy. Rapidly developing economy, but India is also the third. Yeah, India is also the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. India is a rapidly developing economy, and India is a third largest emitter, of greenhouse gases. Okay, we have US, we have China, and India is also Russia, India. So these are the countries which are one of the major emitters of this greenhouse gases, and it has to take the lead for this south-south climate cooperation. Okay, and also India's climate finance initiatives, mostly including mobilizing funds. Okay, India's climate finance initiatives, including mobilizing funds, will be there. Even technology development will be there. More advanced research regarding renewable energy. All these things are coming under India's climate financing initiative. Okay, so India as a developing country has called for more significant climate finance from developed nations. So this is also very important point, especially related to this Baku summit, which happened in the COP29, which happened in Baku in Azerbaijan. So India actually demanded, being the leader of the developing countries. So India has actually demanded finance from the developing countries, advocating for 1 trillion annually, a sum of $1 trillion, $1 trillion annually. Okay, so this is something which India, uh, being a developed country, has demanded to support the global climate goals, especially in this Baku summit, which happened in COP29 summit, which happened in Baku. So that is also called as a climate finance summit. Baku summit is known as a climate finance summit. Okay, climate finance summit, which happened in Baku, COP29. COP29. Okay, but still ultimately the developed countries, they didn't agree to this particular aspect. Okay, they didn't agree to this particular aspect, and somehow we can say that the climate summit, the Baku climate finance summit, is a failure. Okay, but one thing which was emphasized in this particular Baku summit is Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. But still, however, despite the agreements made, the summit failed to achieve the clear action in this mobilizing. Okay, so we need to understand what is this Article 6 of the Article 6 of Paris Agreement, which is dealing with the climate finance. Again, this article is also, this particular newspaper article is also saying regarding this only. Okay, so we'll see what is this Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Okay, so Article 6 is the one of the most significant components of this Paris Agreement. So what is the same? To promote cooperative efforts between countries to achieve climate goals. To promote cooperative efforts between countries to achieve climate goals. So this is the major agenda. The countries has to unite together in the climate finance initiative. So that is something which is very much important regarding this Article 6, and we have a article known as Article 6.2. So there they have brought in a new concept known as internationally transferred mitigation outcome. Internationally transferred mitigation outcome. So this is explicitly said in the Article 6.2. Okay, so this is basically a mechanism that facilitates the exchange of emission reduction. For example, from one country, we'll see what this is in detail, but basically this is a mechanism that facilitates the exchange of emission reduction between the countries. For example, one country will be having higher emissions, so they can actually, other country will be having a lower emissions. Okay, so they can have an arrangement in between so that the global emission will be under control, and one country, both of the countries will be benefited. Okay, so there is something known as nationally determined contribution. Nationally determined contribution. Okay, so in case one country is not able to meet this nationally determined contribution, so at that time the countries can have an internal arrangement. So this is what this internationally transferred mitigation outcome of ITMO is saying. Okay, so what is the significance of this ITMO? That is, it allows flexibility. Every country will be having their own climate plans will be there. So this will be allowing flexibility for the countries to design their climate plan, so that, and one country can help other country meet the targets in a cost effective way. Okay, so that is a main thing, supports the development of a climate finance. Okay, so that is a main thing regarding. So now we'll see how this ITMO process, how this internationally transferred mitigation outcome ITMO process, how this is working. Okay, all right, so this is actually the small representation regarding how this ITMO process working. So we already know what is ITMO. ITMOs are tradable units. They are tradable units that represent mitigation of greenhouse gases. Okay, India also we have this type of local setup is there, but that we'll be discussing. So ITMOs are tradable units that represent the mitigation of greenhouse gases. So this will be allowing countries to reduce emissions in one area and trade the reductions to the other. So this is exactly how it is working. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Like for example, one host country will be there. Okay, so one host country will be there and one partner country will also be there. Okay, one host country will be there and one partner country will also be there. The host country will be mostly a developing nation. Okay, so developing nation, they will be reducing the emissions or develops a project that reduces the emission. Okay, so host country will be developing nation, partner country will be developed nation, and host country was able to achieve something regarding reduction of emission. Okay, partner country was not able to do that. So how this mechanism works is the surplus reduction. The surplus reduction will be measured in this name only. Okay, this ITMO. Okay, so this much ITMO will be there. Okay, so this surplus reduction, that is ITMOs, are transferred to the partner country. That will be a developing country, and they will be able to meet their NDCs. Okay, so instead of this, the host country will be receiving financial resource. It can be either be financial resource or it can be technology transfer, or maybe some capacity building support can also be there. Okay, so this partner country will be giving financial support. This partner country will be giving financial support to the host country. Okay, so this is what is happening. And what is the host country doing? The host country will be helping the partner country to uh, attain their NDCs. Okay, nationally determined contribution. Okay, so like that way. So globally, if you are taking, there is actually a balance in the reduction, and it is something which is internally arranged between these two countries. For example, if you take the case of India, even India is implementing a renewable energy project. For example, it can be wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, what are they? And it will be generating some ITMOs. And what India will be doing? India will be selling to the countries with higher reduction cost. For example, like US is coming. Okay, US was not able to meet the NDC. So what US will be doing? US will be buying this ITMOs from India for a money. Okay, and we will be getting some financial. It can either be financial resource, or it can either be technology resource, or it can either be capacity. Okay, so both countries are able to uh, balance the global emission. Okay, so what is the advantage for India? India can generate financial resources. Okay, for further investment, other countries will be able to, other country will be able to attain the NDCs. Okay, but India is having this is actually ITMO is a mechanism which is applicable in the global level, but India already had this type of mechanism in our local or domestic level. Okay, so these are the mechanism which we are actually having. One is a emission trading system. Okay, so emission trading system or ETS. So this is basically a market based approach to controlling pollution. Again, what they'll be doing, they'll be providing economic incentives will be there for reducing the emissions of the pollutant. So here companies will be there, not just I mean, it's not countries, but even companies will be there. So these companies are given allowances for a certain amount of emission, so which they can actually trade, um, trade with other company. For example, one company was not able to, instead of countries here, take one company was not able to reach their pollution target. Okay, other company was able to reach more than their pollution target, so they can have an internal arrangement between them. So this is emission trading system. Okay, so this is emission trading system or ETS. Another one is carbon credit trading system. Again, similar one only. So here also this is within countries only. Countries or even companies to buy or sell the carbon credit to meet their carbon emission target. So here, I mean that value is also there. So each credit represent the reduction of 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. So each carbon credit is reduction of 1 metric ton, 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. So that is this carbon credit trading way. Again, here it is carbon credit only. Okay, all right. Another one is voluntary carbon market. Another one is voluntary carbon market. So here also the companies, it can either be companies, it can be individuals, or maybe it can be organizations. Also, they can voluntarily buy carbon credits to offset their carbon emission. Okay, all right. Another one is energy saving certificate. Energy saving certificate. Again, this is also issued to energy saving projects or even activities. So ultimately that will also be leading to reduction of this energy consumption. Okay, again this is also used by this most power consuming companies in the world. Okay, all right. So these are the local mechanisms which are available in India. Okay, those is ITMO kind of thing is not something which is not something which India is not much familiar about. In India we have similar type of mechanism, and also ITMO mostly it will be within the countries, like developed countries will be supporting the developing nations only. But India in its capacity is already supporting. India being a developing country, we are supporting other developing countries or maybe even underdeveloped countries also. For example, like in Africa and all. In Africa and all, we are actually having a very good uh, climate cooperation. India Africa climate cooperation. So that is still, yeah, India Africa climate cooperation. So this can be even treated as one of the major, I mean, one of the excellent examples of this South-South cooperation in the climate space. So Africa, Africa it's having a very vast set of renewable energy resources. So, but still they are facing a lot of climate vulnerability, whether it be in floods are coming, even some areas are too much drought inflicted, and even their agricultural resources, their water management, everything has some sort of issue. So India is having expertise in this, especially in renewable energy. Renewable energy, even battery technology, climate resilient agricultural technology, water management. So what India will be doing, India is actually helping these countries in Africa using our expertise. So that's what India is doing. Okay, so these are some of the areas in which India will be helping. Then also another important thing is under PM Modi's 10 principles for India Africa engagement. This is something which is most widely used in okay, international relations, especially later to India Africa relation. And also here India will be helping Africa build a climate resilience through technology transfer will be there, capacity building will be there, and obviously financial support will also be there. Okay, so these are some of the instances in which India will be helping. Now let's see what are the challenges we are actually facing in this area. Okay, whether it be both ITMO or maybe governance and transparency initiative. Okay, one is developed countries may buy cheap credits, avoiding the domestic goods for the sake of doing something. For the sake of doing something, they will be somehow buying cheap credit. So that is one major issue. Okay, another one is like inefficiencies in the IMO system. So that can be an issue, and maybe transparency issues are also there. Okay, like who is going to benefit? Nobody knows who is going to benefit. Even they can have some internal arrangement. Like if they are having some other sort of like for example, beyond this Paris agreement, if they are having some other some other cooperation, means some sort of unfairness or transparency issues can also be there, and also lack of clear governance structure, that's also very major issue. Over reliance may reduce domestic climate action. So people, these countries will be thinking like, okay, we can go with this, like some international people will be coming and helping us. So that's what these countries will be thinking. And also regarding the governance and transparency level, weak governance, enforcement mechanisms are very poor in this, and also poor monitoring is also there. And even many countries are opting out, like US, Argentina and all, they're opting out of this Paris agreement. So that's also one of the major issues which we are facing in this regard. Okay, we'll see what we can do forward for this. Okay, so way forward will be making the system more transparent, without any flaw. So again, India being an advocate of the South-South cooperation should be taking a lead role in this particular initiative, and better governance should be there. Better governance, and all parties should be taken into consideration while taking the decision. So that's also there, and also obviously fostering local capacities. Locally there will be many, like technology so will be there, capacity building will be there, like India employment force and all is very much high. Okay, so that should be used, and obviously India has to rise up to a global leadership level, a position, and focusing on better partnership that can promote this kind of uh, sustainable development goals. Okay, all right. So that's it regarding this particular article. Moving on to next article, addressing the growing threat of forest fire. Again, this is also related to GS3 only, disaster management. So here we'll be dealing regarding forest fires. So there is actually growing concern regarding the forest fires. So this article is actually highlighting this increasing frequency of forest fires and this devastating consequences also. And obviously, right, in Los Angeles and all, like US and all, it is forest fires are something which is becoming common. So this article is saying that India is also very much vulnerable regarding these forest changes, taking whether it be the local examples or whether it be the global context. Okay, all right. So we'll see what is a okay, previous year question in this regard. Examine the status of forest resource of India and its resultant impact on climate change. Okay, all right, 2020. All right, so we'll see what are forest fires. Okay, so what is a forest fires? Forest fires is basically it's an uncontrollable fire. Forest fires mean it is uncontrollable fire. Uncontrollable fire, where it is? It is in the forest only. So it is spread across the forested areas. And what is the issue? It is causing widespread damage. Widespread damage to which all systems? It can be wildlife, forest related. So it can be wildlife. So forest means it's actually an ecosystem. Okay. So wildlife, ecosystem, and even human settlements will also be there. Okay. So wildlife, human settlements, and obviously the ecosystem. Okay. So it can hurt all these things. So that is the issue with the forest fire. So what are the causes of forest fires? Forest fires can be either natural or maybe it can be anthropogenic. Okay, if earthquake is can be caused only using or only by natural, mostly by natural means only. Okay, so here it can be mostly this forest fires are caused by recent times. Mostly this forest fires are caused by this anthropogenic issues. Okay, all right. So natural causes means what? What are the natural causes of forest fires? For example, lightning. Lightning will be there, even volcanic eruptions will be there, or maybe some sort of spontaneous combustion due to some spark or something can happen. So these are some of the natural causes, natural cause of this forest fires. And also we have anthropogenic causes also. Anthropogenic causes are also there. Anthropogenic means human induced. It will be human induced. Okay, so human induced causes are also there for this forest fires. For example, like human activities, what we'll be doing for land clearing and all, we'll be burning this entire area. Slowly it can move to other places, maybe in the forested areas, and it can cause. And also in India itself, in some of the areas we practice something known as a slash and burn agriculture. Slash and burn. Slash and burn agriculture. Okay, slash and burn agriculture means after the harvest, what we'll be doing will be the residues will be put there and we'll be burning it, stubble burn. Okay, so that is also there, and sometimes it will be unattended. It will be unattended. Maybe even some campfires unattended. That even you go to a resort, do a campfire. Sometimes it will you'll not be putting it off. So that can also be an issue. And interestingly, 90% of this forest fires are nowadays, if you take the recent examples, 90% of the forest fires, especially in India, that is caused due to anthropogenic reasons. Okay, so we'll see the official statistics regarding forest fires from the Forest Survey of India, FSI itself. Okay, so this is a 2021 report, 2021 report of FSSI. Okay, so ISFR, Survey of Forest Report. So in that 2021 report, they are saying that over 36% of India's forest areas, over 36% of India's overall forest cover is vulnerable to forest fires. And in the past 2 decades, over the past 2 decades, the number of forest fire incidents has surged by 10 times. So that's also another important thing which they have said. Okay, but still there is actually, if you take the 2001 and 2021, there is actually increase in the forest cover, a slight increase only, 1.12 percentage. There is actually a 1.12 percentage increase in the forest cover. Okay, that's a very slight. In 10 years of 20 years of period, 1.12 only, but still uh, the for number of forest fire incidents have surged by 10 times. Okay, so it's not like forest has increased, but still forest fires due to anthropogenic reasons have increased. And here you can see that some of the high risk areas in India. Okay, so this very dark thing, that is extremely fire prone area, and after that very highly fire prone area, and after that highly moderate and less fire prone, and almost all of the country it's actually prone to forest fire, especially this Uttarakhand region. Uttarakhand region is very much prone to this forest fire, and recently itself many worst case of forest fire also happened in Uttarakhand. So Uttarakhand, Himachal will be there, Madhya Pradesh will be there, Odisha, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and in northeast state, if you go to northeastern state, so here seasonal forest fires became very much intense, especially during the last summer months and all. It was temperature was very rising in a very high way. Even the humidity levels were also falling. So that affected this northeast states a lot. Okay, so that's also one of the important issues. Okay, so now we need to understand what are the consequences of this forest fires. What are the in which all front we are actually having issues regarding this forest fires. Okay, so one is ecological consequences. One is a sorry, yeah, one is a ecological consequences. Ecological consequences means what? Destruction of biodiversity. Destruction of, and most of these areas are in biodiversity hotspots. Okay, biodiversity hotspots. So again, destruction of biodiversity. Uttarakhand means the Himalayan ecosystem will be coming, so that will also be there. So these fires disrupt the critical ecosystem, especially like Himalayan ecosystem, and even wildlife habitat is also very much important. And so here carbon emission is also happening. Okay, forest fire happens means carbon emission will also be happening. So this contributes to a very huge amount. For example, approximately 69 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Approximately 69 million tons of carbon dioxide annual emission. Okay, talking about annual emission is from this forest fires alone. So that is the statistics which you are getting. And also study by the World Resources Institute. World Resources Institute, they have highlighted that forest fires account for 5 to 10% of India's total carbon dioxide emission. 5 to 10% of India's total carbon dioxide emission. Okay, that's also coming from this forest fires alone. Okay, so in the recent times it has increased a lot. Okay, and also other than this atmospheric and ecological causes, we have economic losses also happening. Economic loss in what front? Economic loss is happening because beyond this ecological damage, like for example timber and non-timber forest producers will be there. So that is also being lost. So there was actually a 2018 report which says that 1.3% of the country's GDP, 1.3% of the country's GDP is lost in forest fires. 1.3% of the GDP is lost in the forest fires alone. Okay, so that was another important study which was saying. Okay, all right. So let's see what are India's initiative in this particular regard. Forest fire is something which something which is causing destruction to humans. Okay, so obviously the authority which will be taking care of this type of things is NDM, National Disaster Management Authority. So what they have done is they have declared forest fires as a disaster. Okay, like tsunami, like earthquake, like cyclone, forest fire is also now a disaster. Okay, which means they are actually highlighting the urgent need for a coordinated response. Okay, another important initiative from India, that is a National Action Plan on Forest Fires. National Action Plan on Forest Fires. So what is the purpose? It was launched to mitigate and manage forest fires. Okay, launched to mitigate and manage. So this is something which is specifically launched for the mitigation and management of forest fires. Okay, so it can be in many ways we can actually mitigate and manage this forest fires. More capacity building for fire prevention, detection, control. In all these areas we can have uh, these kind of new technology. It can either be using traditional technology like pouring the water, or maybe using advanced technology like prevention and all. We can use advanced technology like radar technology, drone technology. All these things also will be coming under this. Okay, so and another one is training personnel, developing fire breaks and conducting controlled burns. Okay, so this is also one of the important. So controlled burns means it will be reducing the intensity of this fires during the peak season. For example, take summer season. Summer season, there are chances in some areas, there are chances forest fires will be happening. So that won't be happening. And also there should be early warning system, like say tsunami, earthquake and all. There should be early warning system, especially based on the temperature. The temperature is shooting up, then there should be a warning regarding this, and we should be adapted to. We should be it should be in our mind that okay, there is a chance of forest fire. Okay, all right. Another important scheme which was launched by India is Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. So this is a centrally sponsored initiative. So what is the purpose? It is to support the state government, support the state governments in enhancing the forest fire management effort. Okay, forest fire management effort. But problem is like even though this is very much important, and even though the forest fire, the incidence of forest fires are increasing day by day, the scheme's funding has fluctuated in the years from 28.5 to 51 crores. So there is no proper allocation regarding okay, this much budget will be giving for forest fire mitigation. Okay, this is something which is happening every season. At least in some areas it is something which is very much seasonal, but still there is no proper funding in this area. Okay, another one is predictive modeling. Another important initiative is a predictive modeling. So predictive modeling means it's actually a process to will create a statistical model. So we already have the historical data, like in these times and all forest fires will be happening, these times and all we have to be careful, and these areas are more vulnerable. So based on this historical data as well as the statistics we have, we'll create a statistical model. Based on that we'll have a prediction. Okay, so that is a predictive modeling of the forest fires. Okay, all right. Moving on to next article, struggling with poor cyber security. Okay, so recently in Karnataka, there is a portal, Kaveri 2.0 web portal, that was launched in 2023 to streamline the property registrations in Karnataka. So that portal was recently attacked. That portal was recently attacked. What kind of attack? That name of the attack is DDoS. Okay, DDoS. DDoS means distributed denial of service attack. Distributed denial of service attack. So basically their aim was something like a ransomware. They want some ransom for that. So here we will be discussing what is this, what is the issue I have already mentioned. Karnataka's Kaveri 2.0 property registration 2.0. So this is a context. Okay, so this was attack, and what type of attack? DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, and they were demanding a ransom, and we'll discuss what are the institutions which are dealing with this. Okay, coming under the cyber security topic of our GS3 paper, internal security paper. Okay, all right. So previous year question in this regard, term WannaCry, Petty and Eternal Blue sometimes mentioned in the news recently are related to what? Okay, cyber attack. All right, so we'll see what is this history of attacks in Karnataka. Okay, history of attacks in Karnataka. So basically, you can see that these are some of the important attacks which India itself has faced. Okay, and most of them, uh, in most of these attacks, Karnataka was one of the most vulnerable states. Okay, so that is a issue with Karnataka. That's what they are saying. Karnataka is a has witnessed a lot of cyber attack. Why? Because in Bangalore, if you take Bangalore and all, Bangalore is one of the major IT hubs in India. Okay, so obviously most of them will be targeting them. Okay, so in 2017 there was a WannaCry ransomware attack, and it was something very much crucial. So this attacked the Karnataka data center. Karnataka data center was attacked in this 2017 WannaCry ransomware attack. Again in 2019, so there was a hacking of the state's procurement portal. It was hacked, and it led to a 11.5 crore theft in the system. Led to a 11.5 crore theft in the system. And finally, the latest one is 2022 cyber attack on the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. NIMHANS also happened. Okay, so these incidents highlight the systemic vulnerabilities, especially in Karnataka's cyber security infrastructure. So there is actually some sort of lack of coordination in the system, or maybe between the agencies itself. It is there, and we need a robust institutional response regarding this particular thing. Okay, so here we'll be discussing what is this DDoS attack. Okay, all right. So what is a DDoS attack, or distributed denial of service attack? So here the multiple machines will be flooding a targeted system. Okay, multiple machines will be flooding a targeted system. So what will happen? This will be overwhelmed. This will be overwhelmed, and it's a source, and it will be inaccessible to the legitimate users. Okay, so there will be legitimate users will be there. So for them, it will be inaccessible. So that is distributed denial of service. That service is denied to the legitimate users. Okay, so we'll see how this distributed denial of service is happening. Okay, all right. So uh, initially what will happen, there will be a botnet will be created. So this attackers, what they'll be doing, they'll be infecting multiple devices with many items. For example, it can either be malware, it can either be malware like virus, can be, or bots. Okay, so that's why botnet attack, sometimes it's called botnet attack also. So multiple devices will be infected with malware and turning them into bots. Okay, turning them into bots. So this will eventually lead to a traffic overload. So these infected system, they are directed to send excessive requests to a single target. Okay, so all these things will be affected, all these things will be infected, and these systems will be sending sending signals to the target. So this is the target. Okay, so this will be our target, and this will be how multiple machines will be flooding a target system by sending excessive request to the single target. So ultimately what will happen, there will be a service disruption will be there. This targeted system will be crashing, or maybe it become unresponsive due to the traffic surge. I'll give you an example so you understand it better. So this is something which happened in 2022 in AIMS Delhi. Okay, AIMS Delhi. So what happened? The servers of AIMS Delhi were hit by massive DDoS attack, then distributed denial of service attack. So that interrupted the entire patient services, and led to concerns over data breaches. So what happened here? Multiple devices, multiple machines flooded the AIMS Delhi's patient system. Okay, patient system. So when a patient is able to access these things, or maybe the doctor is able to access this particular system, what happened? They were denied the service. This is exactly what happened. Okay, all right. So what is the purpose? They need ransom. So basically they need ransom, money is needed. Okay, so basically ransomware means it's actually this kind of a malware, or maybe all these attacks are, many attacks we can actually call it as a ransomware. So here it's actually a type of malware that encrypt the file. Okay, encrypt the file on a victim system and demand ransom payment. For example, the system, you can take the system. So this system will be attacked by the attacker. So after that, what he'll be doing, he'll be locking the system. He'll be completely locking the system, and after that, maybe he'll call him, or maybe he'll contact this person, victim owner, and after that, he'll be asking like, I need this much money. Then only I'll be releasing your system. Either you give the money, or you forget about the data, or maybe the device itself. So this is basically the ransomware attack. Again, a very infamous one is WannaCry ransomware attack, which affected 3 lakh plus computers worldwide. Again, Karnataka was also one of the areas in which this was badly affected. Okay, so that is something. Okay, all right. Now let's see what are some of the agencies in India which are dealing with this cyber security. Okay, first one is the National Cyber Security Coordinator. National Cyber Security Coordinator. So this is something which is established directly under the control of, yeah, National Cyber Security Coordinator. This is established directly under the PMO, directly under PMO, that is Prime Minister's Office itself. So basically it will be a national level cyber security coordination will be there. Okay, so what is the function? They'll be coordinating the cyber security strategies across different agencies. Okay, so these are some of the agencies, and some agencies are outside this also. So it will be coordinating with all the agencies regarding a particular cyber security threat. Okay, so basically it's under PMO. So policy advising will be there, threat intelligence will be there, cyber resilience will be there, other measures, all these things will be dealt in that. Okay, another important agencies institution is National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, NCIIPC, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. Okay, so this is something which is coming under National Technical Research Organization, National Technical Research Organization, or NTR, National Technical Research Organization. So what is their mandate? Their mandate is to protect the critical information infrastructure. So critical information infrastructure means what? Banking. Banking is a very important critical information infrastructure. Power grid will be there, telecom will be there, even healthcare, like we have seen in the aims what happened. So all these things are critical infrastructure. So to ensure that these critical infrastructure is out of the threat. So that is the main purpose of this. Okay. So this is actually coming under legal framework. So this is under section 70, under based on section 70A of IT Act, based on section 70A of IT Act. Okay. Based on that only this was established. Okay. IT Act 2000. Next one is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. Okay, so this was established under Ministry of Home Affairs. This was established under Ministry of Home Affairs. So what is the role? They'll be Home Affairs only, right? So they'll be coordinating the investigation of this area, investigation of the cyber crimes across the states. All these things will be, even the training of the forces will be there. Forensics support will be there. So all these things will be done by this National Cyber Crime Coordination Center, IFOC only. Okay, another important, very important agency which is coming is CERTIN. It is CERTIN, Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERTIN. Okay. Again, this also constituted under section 70B, section 70B of IT Act 2000. Section 70B of IT Act 2000. Under this only, this is also coordinate. Again, this is coming under different ministry, that is MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology under MeitY. Okay, Ministry of Electronics and Information. What is the function? To detect, prevent, and even respond to the cyber threat. Okay, that is a function of this. Okay. Alright. So these are some of the important agencies which are working under this particular cyber domain. Okay. Alright. Moving on to next topic. So this topic discusses the possibility of a president's rule. Recently issues are happening in this Manipur regarding this the resignation of the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh. So there are chances that Manipur will be placed under president's rule. So here we will be discussing what is this president's rule, what are the constitutional dimensions, what is the Supreme Court ruling regarding president's rule. All these things will be discussed under this area. Okay, GS2. All right. So the previous year question, again this is regarding President of India exercises his power as provided under Article 356 of Constitution in respect to particular state. Then what is the case? Okay, directly under president's rule. Okay. All right. So we'll discuss what are the grounds of imposition of the president's rule. So under Article 350, under Article 356, okay, it is under Article 356 of the Constitution. Okay, so this is coming under Part 18, that is emergency provisions. In that only this is coming. So here it is under Article 356 of Indian Constitution. President's rule can be imposed on two main grounds. Okay, can be imposed on two important major grounds. One is there is a breakdown of constitutional machinery. There is a breakdown of constitution machinery. So if the president is satisfied that a state government cannot function in accordance with the constitution, based on a governor's report will also be there. Okay, we'll discuss that later. So governor has to give a report. Can be imposed otherwise also, but still the governor or maybe some independent evaluation can also happen. So based on this, if the president is satisfied that state government cannot function in accordance with the constitution, at that time under Article 356 this emergency can be imposed. Okay, another one is under Article 3 another one is a failure to follow sender's direction under Article 365. Okay, under Article 365 they have to follow the state government has to follow some instruction from the central government. If not, under Article 356 the president's rule can be imposed on that particular government. Okay, So these are the two important instances in which this can be imposed. Okay, common circumstances will be like this way. Uh, there is a chief minister will be resigned, or maybe a failure to elect a chief minister, or maybe uh, one party will be breaking away from the coalition. So at that time, the major party will be losing the majority. So then who will be there? So at that time, president will be coming, or maybe sometimes due to disasters also, unforeseen reasons like disasters also, even president rule can be imposed. Okay. All right. So we'll see regarding, I told you regarding governor's report until. So we'll see what is actually the process. Okay. So for this, parliamentary approval is needed. For even though it is imposed in the state, parliamentary approval is very much needed to impose a president's rule. Okay. All right. First one, governor can report. Governor can report to the president regarding what is actually the situation of the state. Okay. Governor will be saying that okay, this is the situation of the state. In the state, it is not possible to for the state government to rule. So at that time, the governor process starts when the governor of the state report to the president that this is actually the case of this state. So after that, president said that president think that okay, this is right. At that time, what he will be doing, he will be approving this. He will be approving this, and he will be issuing a proclamation. Okay, he will be issuing a proclamation. What will be there in the proclamation? That the functions of the state has been transferred to who? It will be transferred to the central government. Okay, so this will be in the proclamation. So after that, we need to go for approval. So who will be approving here? It will be the parliament. Okay, so it will be the parliament who will be approving this president's rule. Okay, so the parliament has to approve it within 2 months. Within 2 months itself, the parliament has to approve. So if the parliament is not approving, obviously the president's rule will be lapsing. So ultimately, the control is under parliament only. So this it can be the president's rule can last up to 6 months. It can last up to 6 months and may be extended in 6 months, 6 months. Okay, like that 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. It can be extended up to 3 years itself. Okay, so this is the how we can extend it. Okay, and beyond 1 year also it can be extended. Under some conditions, it can be extended beyond 1 year also. For example, if there is a national emergency is declared, if a national emergency is declared in that area, or maybe the election commission certifies that the elections cannot be held in that particular area. So at that time also, this it can be um, extended beyond the area. Again, how can it be revocated? It's very simple. The president can revoke the rule at any time without any parliamentary approval. Okay, so basically to impose only we need a parliamentary approval. Other than that, that is not needed. Okay. All right. So imposing also, Supreme Court has said that it is not like you can directly go and impose present rule. That's not the case. There are some criteria in which you should be considering while imposing the present rule. So that was said in one SR Bommai case. SR Bommai was Union of India case. The present rule is subject to judicial review and can be challenged if arbitrary. Some, for example, sometimes the central government as well as the state government, they won't be in a proper relation. So at that time, the central government will be arbitrarily imposing a president's rule in the state. That is not possible. Okay. Another one in the Rameshwar Prasad case in 2006, recommendation for president rule must be based on objective criteria, not just central government's opinion. So these are the two important cases related to president's rule. Okay. All right. So that's it regarding the 4 articles for today. So moving on to the mains question. So what are the major challenges associated with ITMO mechanism under Article 6 of Paris Agreement? Analyze the potential risk for developing nations like India in engaging with ITMO transactions. So you can briefly introduce with what is Article 6, what is this ITMO, how it will help to um, what in the climate goals. Okay, so after that, what are the major challenges in the body? You can write what are the major challenges, like we have already discussed, like transparency issues, governance issues are there, overlines on this external factors. So all these things are some of the challenges. So what are the risks for developing countries like India? Opportunity cost will be there. It will be could divert reductions from India's own climate goals. Dependence will be there. Even unequal benefit sharing will be there. So these are some of the risks for India. Okay. Way forward, India can advocate for we can advocate for a stronger governance and transparency rules. Okay, ensure capacity building in developing countries are happening, strengthen international law. So like that way you can make the way forward. After that, you can go with a conclusion. Okay, you can emphasize the need for a fair governance and equal benefit sharing. All right. So these are the prelims practice questions of yesterday's DNA. Okay, yesterday's DNA. So today's DNA practice questions of today's DNA will be discussed in tomorrow's session. Okay. All right. So regarding, consider the following statements regarding Bombay blood group. It was discovered in 1952 by Dr. Y.M. Pende in Mumbai, India, and also known as phenotype or O phenotype. So that is correct. Statement 1 is correct. Individuals with Bombay blood group can receive blood from any ABO group, including O negative. Okay. So this statement is wrong. Individuals with Bombay blood group cannot receive blood group from any ABO group, including O negative, due to their, because in their absence of H antigen will be there. So that is a major issue. Okay, so this statement is wrong. The statement is correct. The statement is wrong. Bombay blood group is inherited through an autosomal recessive pattern and is more common in population with a history of consanguineous marriage. Okay, this is also correct. So the correct answer will be 1 and 3. Okay, 1 and 3 will be the correct answer. All right, next one. Which of the following is not a characteristic of La Nina phenomenon? Cooler sea surface temperature across east central equatorial Pacific, low air surface pressure in eastern Pacific, stronger trade winds than usual, weak upwelling over west coast of South America. Okay, so here the correct answer is D. D is a correct answer. So La Nina is characterized by below average sea surface temperature. Okay, below average sea surface temperature. So unlike this, it leads to strong upwelling over the uh, western coast of South America. Okay, here it is written weak upwelling. Okay, so not a characteristic, not a characteristic. So this is basically not a characteristic. So this is the answer. Okay, next one. Consider the following statements regarding the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. START was a series of bilateral nuclear arms treaty. Bilateral nuclear arms control agreement between US and Soviet Union. That is correct. New START signed in 2010 limits the number of deployed nuclear warheads and launch. So basically that is actually the purpose of this. That's also correct. START 2 successfully entered into force and remains active today. So this is wrong. This is correct. This is also correct. This is wrong. Okay. So the correct answer will be 1 and 2 only. Okay. So basically uh, this is related, I mean, like this treaty was never activated. Okay, so that is a okay. So correct answer is 1 and 2 only. Okay, all right. So that's it for today's that's yesterday's daily news analysis question. So these are the prelims practice questions based on today's daily news analysis. So this will be available in our website navigator.narayana.ias.com. So there you can go to that website. The link will be posted in the comment box. So you can click on that and you can directly answer it from there. So we'll be discussing these questions in tomorrow's daily news analysis. So that's it for today. Thank you.